Assalamualaikum and hi, we are from Team 2 and we are going to present to you about Code of Safe Working Practices for Merchant Seafarers.
Hi guys, my name is KALIDESAN. My matrix number is S63632 and I am a Nautical Science and Maritime Transportation student.
Hi guys, my name is ALINA PANNIRSELVAM with matric number S63784 from Nautical Science and Maritime Transportation degree program.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Arisa binti HASSAN as 63807, a degree student of Nautical Science and Maritime Transportation.
Hi guys, my name is BHISHAM BHULLER, matrix number S64445 from Nautical Science and Maritime Transportation.
Task 1.
Requirements of Task 1 is to identify the type of personal protective equipment used by pilot when they are going on board. Now, according to the Code of Safe Working Practices of Merchant Seamen, now the type of protections are on the screen. Head of protection, hearing protection, face and eye protection, respiratory protective equipment, hand and foot protection, body protection, protection against drowning, and protection against hypothermia. And you can see these are the examples of PPE or personal protective equipment based on the protections. Now in this slide, I have actually identified, and also the coming slides, the type of PPE and its functions which are essential. So number one will be safety helmet. Now as we know, safety helmets are a type of protection for our head, and it also protects us from like crushing or sideway blows, and of course chemical splashes, anything from above or from the front. And second of all is the earmuffs. Now earmuffs are a protection for our hearings, because these type of earmuffs are usually connected and usually completely envelops our ears, in which we can only not only protect our ears physically, but also to make sure our ears are maintained, especially the inner part of our ears, due to sound pollution and things like that. Number three is gloves. Now, gloves is very important, as we usually wear gloves when we are handling hot objects. Also, not only that, when we are handling acids, alkalis, various types of oils, solvents, and chemicals in general. And not only that, or when we are also conducting activities we are not used to being handled. And number four will be safety boots. Now, safety boots actually protects our feet. This footwear is specially designed to prevent us from injuries which are caused by impact, penetration, or slipping, heat, and of course, crushing. So therefore, it is actually very important to wear our safety boots during when we are on board or serving as a pilot. Okay, now number five is actually safety belts or harness. Now, this is very essential, especially for pilots, because personnel who are working at a height should be wearing this because it is attached to a lifeline. So, what this harness does is that it secures by a lifeline and as a protection from falls or from being washed overboard or against the ship's structure. Now, the last PPE identified is life jacket or buoyancy aid, because when where work is being carried out oversight or in a exposed position where there is a reasonably foreseeable risk of falling or being washed overboard, it is essential that a life buoy is worn, or a personal flotation device or a buoyancy aid is actually worn. Now, this is very much important to make sure that we do not have any risk when we were to fall or be able to be washed overboard.
Task 2.
Confined space. Confined space is defined as a space with poor or no proper ventilation. Therefore, it is not suitable for continuous occupancy of human. When working in the confined space, people need to take extra precaution due to the dangerous atmosphere that is created inside the confined space. The access in confined space is limited to 1 or 2 person at a time. The example of confined space that can be found on board are chain locker, double bottom, coffer dam, and so on. Equipment needed to be brought before entering the confined space. It is divided into 3 categories. Firstly is safety equipment, second is rescue equipment, and third is communication equipment. For safety equipment, The item needed are hard caps, or so we call as helmet, boots, coverall, and also personal gas monitor. For rescue equipment, the items are breathing apparatus or SCBA, recovering gear, and resuscitator. And lastly, for communication equipment, it is VHF device, also called as walkie-talkie, to maintain a continuous communication between the person inside and outside of the confined space.
Okay, I'll be presenting about pre-entry checklist. Okay, pre-entry checklist is very important before entering any enclosed space. So firstly is ventilate prior to entry. You must check the tank atmosphere for air, X-phone, contact, and toxic gas. And then personal safety equipment followed and displayed enclosed space checklist. And also responsible officer must be on standby in case anything happens. Rescue equipment ready for immediate use, like example stretcher, oxygen tank, and also risk assessment to be carried out before entering enclosed space, because it's very important to identify the hazards. And then proper permit work and checklist checked by master to get approval. If not, we can't enter if it's not approved by the master. Okay, so next will be enclosed space entry procedures. So basically we must enter slowly and quietly to avoid attention. Try to make as little movement as possible. Number 2, enough lighting and illumination presented in enclosed space is very important, so that we don't feel any dizziness and we know where is the exit part and we don't get lost. Number 3, proper safety equipment is used, safety helmet, oxygen tank, and also gloves. And fourthly, keep an open line of communication with your primary crew. That means always keep contact with the crew or anybody outside of the enclosed space, so that they know what is happening inside. Hazards surround us everywhere and can be highly contagious, so that is why we did the prior checklist to identify the hazards before we entering. And also there will be hazards as well. And also rescue equipment ready for immediate use. Let's say anything happen, injury that can cause fatality and also high risk injury, we must always be on standby. And also after the work finish, fill out the checklist what has been done and everything, so that we do not have to go again inside the enclosed space. And lastly, permit work have to be closed, so that all the crew members on the ship knows that the work has been done and there's no one in the enclosed space.
Task 3.
Okay, so firstly, I'm going to brief you about the emergency rescue procedure in enclosed space. Firstly, when there is emergency there, we will raise the alarm and report it to the master. And next, we'll obtain necessary assistance and equipment, including medical support, lifelines, breathing apparatus, and rescue equipments that are readily rigged to be used. Next, the first aid squad and rescue team must fully be equipped near the manhole. Communication link must be established and the VHF radios should be used to communicate. The officer in charge of the rescue must remain outside the space while he will be giving the command to the entry team who will enter inside for the operation. Before entry, officer in charge must briefly inform the rescue team about the features of the enclosed space. During a rescue operation, a proper ventilation should be provided. Lifeline must be tied out to the structure for the victims, so that if their weight is too much, it can guide them and lift them out of the manhole safely. And in the next slide, you can see the image of how this process will be taken.
That's all from us. Thanks for watching.